Hello students, I am Mohammad Kamran Khalil from your favorite physics YouTube channel, The Twins Academy. So today I will discuss A Levels Physics paper 9702/12 Feb March 2025. So we will start this paper right from question number 1. So question number 1, that which quantity is a scalar quantity? Scalar quantities are those quantities which do not require a particular direction, while vector quantities are those quantities which require a direction. Force is a vector quantity, momentum is a vector quantity, velocity is a vector quantity, so work done is a scalar quantity. Now question number 2. What is the effect of the systematic error on the measurement of a physical quantity? So look, systematic error is due to the error in the instrument. So the reading on the systematic error can be larger or can be smaller as compared to the actual value. It limits the precision, no. It limits the range of the values obtained in repeated measurements, no. It results in a repeated measurement having different values from each other, no. It results in a measured value being different from the correct value. As I have told you earlier that due to the systematic error, system error, for example, if we will consider about the systematic error of a vernier caliper or the micrometer, so then this error can be positive and this error can be negative, and it will give you the different reading as compared to the true value or the correct value. So for question number 2, option D is the valid option. Now question number 3. A car is accelerated by a constant resultant force 300 Newton for 5 seconds. Now the force is given, the time is given. Now velocity is given in centimeter per second. What is required? What is the mass of the car? Now in order to calculate the mass, what we will do? We will apply the basic formula for the force. Force is defined as rate of change of momentum. So this is the force. I will change the colors for the explanation. So then the mass into change in velocity over time, and we will make mass as a subject. So it will become F into T over delta V. Now first of all, change in velocity. Excuse me. So change in velocity is 150 minus 30, that is 120 centimeter per second. In order to convert centimeter to meter, what we will do, we will divide 120 by 100, then we will get 1.2 meter per second. Now we will substitute the values. The force is 300, then the time is 5 seconds, it's already in SI unit, and then the velocity is 1.2. So then we will get 1250, and the nearest matching option after rounding off this value is option C. So for question number 3, option C is the valid option. Now question number 4, again there is a conversion in this question. Yeah, there is a conversion in this question. An aircraft initially stationary, so initial velocity is 0. Then its takeoff speed is 85 km per hour. So first we will convert that kilometer per hour to meter per second. We will multiply it by 1000 and then divide it by 3600. We will get 23.611. And then 1.20 kilometer, we will convert that into meter and multiply by 1000. We will get 1200. What is the minimum constant acceleration? Acceleration is required, so we will use the equation of motion because there is no data related with the time is given. So what we will use the third equation of motion, which is 2as equal to v square minus u square. We will make a as a subject, then we will substitute the values, and then we will get 0.23. So for question number 4, option A is the valid option. Now question number 5. An object is fired upward from horizontal ground. The object has an initial velocity of 20 at the angle of 45 degree. So it means that it is a projectile motion. In projectile motion, there are two components of the velocity. One of them is the horizontal component and the other one is the vertical component. Which statement describes the speed of the object after it is fired until immediately before it reaches the ground again? So at this point, the Vy will be 0 vertically component, but Vx will never ever 0. So it will become V into cos 45. So due to this, the value will never ever drop to 0. It will have some particular value. If the object will be thrown in a straight line in upper direction, then in that case the final velocity will be 0. But in this case, the final velocity, or at the highest point, the velocity will never ever will be 0 due to the presence of the horizontal components. Its speed decreases certainly. For this axis, the Vy will decrease to a value greater than 0. So it can never ever be 0 because horizontal velocity will always remain constant throughout the flight and then increases to this. So for question number 5, the option A is the valid option. Now question number 6. What is the statement of the principle of conservation of the momentum for a system? So you have to remember the definition that the conservation of momentum is say that the total momentum will be conserved if there is no external force act upon it before collision and after collision for an isolated system. So for this question number 6, straightforward answer will be option C. Now for question number 7, this question is related with the momentum. So momentum is the product of the mass and the velocity, and similarly just we read the principle of conservation of momentum, that the total momentum before collision is equal to the total momentum after collision. So object P and Q from an isolated system, object P has mass 6 kg and is moving at speed of this, so its momentum will be 6 into 3, while the other object has mass 2 and it is moving with velocity 4.2 and the angle is given. Object P and Q collide and stick together. It means that their mass will be added up. What is the magnitude of the component of the final momentum of the combined object? So in order to calculate the final momentum, I must have the total mass, which is 6 plus 2, 8, but I do not have the final velocity. So what I will do? First of all, I will resolve this into two components, and this one is the component and this one is opposite to the angle is the sine component, and for the vertical it will be a cos component, because object P is moving along x-axis or horizontally, so I will take the horizontal component, which is sine 55. Now before momentum and after momentum, I will use this equation m1 u1 plus m2 u2, that is equal to m1 plus m2. Why I have used this equation? It is written that they will stick together. So I will use this equation, that 6 into 3, and now this is moving in the opposite direction. Velocity is a vector quantity. So 6 into 3, m1 u1, then the negative sign will be introduced. The reason, because P is going towards right while the component of the Q is moving towards left. If P is positive, then Q will be negative, and along with its component will be sine 55, and after they will stick together, I have to calculate this velocity V. So first of all, I will calculate the velocity V, which is equal to 11.11 equal to 8 into V. So final velocity after this sticks together is this one. Now the final momentum, that is equal to total mass, which is 8 into velocity, along with the both object will move with the same speed because they stick together with each other. So the final momentum will be 11.11. So it means that for question number 7, option B is the valid option. For question number 8, an astronaut of a mass m in a spacecraft experience a gravitational force F that is equal to mg and W equal to mg when stationary on the launching pad. What is the gravitational force on the astronaut when the spacecraft is launched? vertically upward with the acceleration of this. The force does not depend on the motion. Whether the object will be at rest or it will be moving, the force will always remain m into g. So this is a fact. So what we will use for this, the answer will be for question number 8. Option B is the valid option. Now again, this question is related with the definition. The diagram shows a child X of mass 20 kg and a child Y of mass 15 kg seated on a uniform plank. So uniform plank means that it has center of gravity at its center. Center of gravity, the point where the whole weight of an object seems to act. That is the definition of the COG. The plank has a mass of 7 kg and has a pivot at its midpoint. Okay. The plank is horizontal and is in equilibrium. So it means that the clockwise moment is equal to anti-clockwise moment. Now which statement about the weight of the plank is correct? The weight of the plank can be considered to be acting at its midpoint. Already I have told you that the definition of COG is the point where the whole weight of an object seems to act. So for question number 9, option A is the valid option. Now again, this question is related with the calculation. An object is fully submerged in a liquid. Upthrust. The formula for the upthrust is rho GV. And the formula for the weight is W, that is equal to mg. So G will be cancelled out by this. And after that, now I have left mass. Mass, that is equal to density into volume. So then again, this volume will be cut out by this volume. So there is no role of the volume for the change that would make this ratio to the double, which is required. So volume is not involved. Only which thing is involved in the final expression, that the density of the liquid and over the density of that object. Okay. So now what we will do, we will use this expression, and for question number 10 we will read the statement number 1. Use a different liquid that has twice the density. Okay, so the ratio, that was the ratio. So ratio is proportional to the density of the liquid. So if we will make it double, it means that this ratio will become double as well. So option A is the valid option for question number 10. Now question number 11. Again, this is a question related with the resolution of the vector, and this is a bit tricky question. A shop sign has a weight of 75 Newton hangs from a frame attached to a vertical wall. Okay, that is fine. The weight is acting in downward direction, and this angle is given. This is the force of tension, and then this is the vertical component, so that the vertical component T sine 30, it will be balanced by the weight which is acting in downward direction. Now what is required? He is saying that what is the horizontal force exerted by the wall. So it means that this force is required. So when I will resolve the force of tension into components, what is required? I want to calculate T cos 30. I am not going to calculate the value for T for the final answer, because that is not the horizontal force component. T is the tension only. So what I will do, I will compare these two forces which are acting in upward direction and downward direction. Then I will get tension is equal to 150. And the answer is also given 150, but that is not the horizontal force. That is the tension in the rope. So now finally I will use the component T cos 30. So and then I will get the answer 129.9, which will make answer C is acceptable for question number 11. Now question number 12. Now this is the question related with the first topic, which is related with the uncertainty and the measurement, and they have given that question at number 12. So the liquid, the height of the liquid is given, the diameter of the beaker is given, and then the mass of the liquid is given. So density that is equal to mass over volume. Now the volume, what is the percentage uncertainty in the calculated density of the liquid? Now liquid will contain the volume of the beaker in which we will sustain the liquid inside the beaker, and the formula for the volume is pi r square h, and because the radius is not given, only the diameter is given, so we will use formula V that is equal to pi d square by 4 into h. Now delta m over m, density, that's equal to mass over volume, but volume is given in form of the diameter and the height. So delta d square over d plus delta h over h. Now this square will move in the beginning of this expression. So 10% is given, 3% into 2, and then 2, and then we will get the 18% answer for this expression for question number 12. Now question number 13, that is a really very good question. Now there are two plants, there are two pivots, there are two sports. So the diagram shows a uniform plank xy of length 4 meter. So what will happen to the forces when child will stand at this point and when child will stand at this point? So we will make this as a pivot. Y will be the pivot of this question. So now what we will do, I have drawn already a diagram. The total length is 4. The plank has a weight which is 300 Newton. From point Y, the distance of the weight is 2, and then the kid has weight of 600 Newton, and the distance of the kid from the pivot Y is 4. Now two downward forces are acting in downward direction. Two forces are acting in downward direction, that is 600 Newton and 300 Newton. And he has asked in the question, what is the magnitude of the force F? Now force is the F force which is vertically upward on the plank. The support at and X exert a force. So now this is the force which is exerted by the pivot X. So this is required to be calculated. So the sum of clockwise moment is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moment. The distance of force F from the pivot is 4. So the other one is 600 in downward direction, 300 in downward direction. So when the child is at point X, the force acting is 750. So rather the option C is valid or option D is valid. Now we will move this kit tick 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 towards the pivot Y. Now their kid is on the pivot. It means that there is no moment at this place, because moment is the product of mass, the moment is the product of the force and perpendicular distance from pivot. Now perpendicular distance is 0. Now one force is acting in upward direction and other force is acting in downward direction. So sum of clockwise moment is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moment, and then we will get 150. So for this question number 13, the final answer will be option D. Now question number 14. Okay, power that is equal to force into velocity. So power that is equal to energy over time. Energy that is equal to work done, that is equal to force into distance over time. Now that is equal to force into distance over time, means displacement over time is the velocity. So displacement that is equal to velocity into time. This expression will be used in order to drive the relationship, which will give us power equal to force into velocity. For question number 14, option A is the valid option. Question number 15. Again, the component is required, the resolution of vector is required. So you must be really very strong in resolution of vectors. So this component theta, that it will become the L sine theta and it will become L cos theta. Now he is saying that no resistive forces. It means that kinetic energy is equal to Gp. He is saying that what will be the velocity at the bottom when the object will move from this point to this point. So what we will do, we will apply the law of conservation of energy. Mass will be cut out from the both sides. So velocity square, that is equal to 2gh. Now the h will be replaced by the L sine theta. The value of g is 9.81, and then we will solve this expression. We will get 4.43 square root of L sine theta. So for question number 15, option B is the valid option. Now question 16. That is a very straightforward question. The definition of the work done is required. The forward force acting is 25 Newton and the distance traveled is 0.5. So we will apply the formula work done, that's equal to force into distance, and then we will get the answer 30 joules, which is option A. For 16, option A is the valid option. Now question number 17, a lot of calculation is in this paper, a lot. Okay, ji, a turbine at a hydroelectric power station is situated at a distance of 30 meters below the level of the surface of a large lake. So height is given. The water passes a turbine at a rate of 340 meter cube per minute. So we will convert that into per second. So volume, it is not the velocity, it is volume per unit time. So 340 upon 60. So this is the volume per second, not the minute. The overall efficiency is 90%, and means that it will be 0.9. The density is given this. I want to calculate the useful output power. So efficiency, that is equal to power out over power in. So power out, that is equal to power in into efficiency. The value of efficiency is given, but the value of the input power is not given. So what we will do, we will start from the right from the beginning. Power equal to energy over time. Energy, that is equal to mgh over time. There is no mass given, but the density is given. So mass will be replaced by density into volume. Now V by T is given. So I will substitute the values. Density is equal to 1000. V by T, that is equal to 340 over 60. G 9.81. Height is 30 and time is 60. Then I will get 1.667 10 raised to power 6 watt, convert into megawatt because the unit is required in the megawatt, and then I will multiply it by 0.9 in order to get the P out. So 1.5 means that option B is the valid option. Now question number 18, again the projectile question. There are two questions related to the projectile in this paper, so prepare that topic really good. A projectile is launched at a 45 degree to the horizontal with initial kinetic energy E. Now that is the initial kinetic energy, and assuming that air resistance is negligible, so kinetic energy of the projectile when it reach its highest point. At highest point, again, this is the same scenario which we have already discussed in the question, I think question number 2 or 3, that at the peak, at the highest point, the velocity will not equal to 0 due to the horizontal component. So velocity will be v cos 45. So new energy half mv square, and then it is all the energy. Half mv square was represented by E. So cos 45 square is 1 by 2. So E by 2 will be the answer, means that 0.50 E. Again, the question related with the expression that a wire is extended by a tensile force that is deform is elastic. Okay, what is meant by elastic deformation? This question is related with the definition. So for question number 19, tensile force is, okay, that is the definition of the elastic deformation. So that is the not a big deal. You have to learn the definitions. So the questions related to the definition have been asked in the papers as well. Now this question is related with the again calculation and the expression. And a bolt is subjected to a tensile force. So tensile force. What is the ratio of the stress at X and over stress at Y? So stress is the force acting per unit area. Now force F and the area is represented by is pi d square by 4. So this is the stress for Y, at which the diameter is given d. Now I will rearrange this equation for X, F, that is equal to pi. Now this is 2d. So 2d square by 4. So 4d square by 4, this 4 will be cut out by this, and then this is the expression for x. Now I will make this expression, this value substitute over here, and this value I will substitute over here, and then I will get 4 over 1. This will give me the answer equal to 4. So you have to remember that area equal to pi r square or area equal to pi d square by 4. This expression have been used so many times in the past papers, as well as in MCQs and theory as well. So for this, the option D is the valid option for question number 20. Now question number 21. This question is related with the energy related with the elastic deformation, and the formula for calculation of the energy is half Fx or 1 by 2 kx square. Now the graph shows the relationship for the force acting on a compression spring and the change in the length of the spring. One of these springs is placed in each corner of the horizontal square plate. The axis of the each spring is vertical direction and down. There are 4 springs and which will hold a load of 160 Newton. So for one spring, the force will be 40 Newton. And then for the 40 Newton, we will calculate the value of the extension. So, and then the formula for the energy stored for a spring is E equal to 1 by 2 Fx. So 1 by 2 into 40, and then 2.4 into 10 raised to power minus 3. Again, the conversion is required. So this is the energy stored by one spring. Now the object is hung with the 4 springs. So what is the total energy stored by those 4 springs will be 0.192. So it will make option B as the valid option. Now question number 22. That is a very easy question. These are the properties of the electromagnetic waves. So electromagnetic waves are the transverse waves. They are not the longitudinal waves, and they can travel in free space. For question number 22, straightforward option A is the valid option. Now for question number 23, you have to remember the wavelength, that in which range the infrared radiation. This is the UV, these are the microwave, these are the visible light. So option D is the valid option. The diagram shows Doppler effect question. The diagram shows a car traveling at a constant speed in a straight line between point P and person Q from X to Y. Now this car is moving towards this. So when it will move away, then what will happen? The velocity will be add up. So then the wavelength will decrease and frequency will increase. That is the basic concept. So the car sound its horn continuously as it travels. The horn emits sound of constant frequency. Which statement about what person P and person Q hear during the motion of the car are correct? So for question number 24, person Q always hear a sound of higher frequency than the person P, because the wavelength will decrease, and wavelength and frequency are inversely proportional to each other. So person Q. So option C is the valid option for question number 24. Now question number 25. This is a very easy question. The frequency is given, the speed is given. Now phase difference is required. Okay. So the wavelength we will calculate by using the formula lambda that is equal to V over F, 2 meter. So it means that for 2 meter, the phase difference will be 360 degree. For 0.5, it will be 90 degree, because 0.5 will be 1 quarter. So 360 divided by 4 gives you 90 degree. So straightforward answer for question number 25 is option D. 26, Galois's law, a polarization related question. That is a question related to the polarization. I equal to I naught cos square theta. The input is I, the output is 0.75 I. He is asking that what is the angle theta. So you will apply equation, and then cos theta that is equal to 0.866, and 0.866 cos inverse will give you angle 30 degree. Again, light waves are emitted from two sources. What is the necessary condition for the observation of the interference fringes to be produced? The first condition related with this, that the waves must be coherent. So they must have constant phase difference. For question number 27, option C is the valid option. For question number 28, now he is saying that what changes must increase the amount of spreading due to the diffraction. So wavelength and the diffraction are proportional to each other. So when wavelength will increase, the diffraction will also increase. And when the gap will decrease, then the diffraction will also increase. So for question number 28, wavelength increase and the gap will decrease. Now question number 29. I have shown the working up over here because there was no space given for this. So this is one of the repeated question as well. So wavelength is given 400 lines per millimeter. So we have to calculate the D first of all, then the angle theta 2 and theta 3 for the third order and for the second order, and then we will calculate the difference between them. What is the angle between? So theta 3 minus theta 2 is required. So for that, first of all, we will convert the wavelength into meter. Now 400 lines in 1 millimeter, and for one line 1 into 10 is for minus 3 over 400. Then this is the value for the slit distance. Now we will apply the formula d sine theta equal to n lambda, and then sine theta will become this n lambda over d. So for theta 2 we will substitute n equal to 2. For theta 3 we will substitute n equal to 3. So theta 2 is this 26.97, theta 3 is 42.87, and then we will get the difference of the two angles theta 3, sorry, this written theta 2, theta 3 minus theta 2. So the answer is 16. Is there any option? Oh, 15.9. Exact 15.9 is given. So option C is the valid option. Now question number 30, current electricity. These are the two conductors. The conductor Y has a small diameter while X has a large diameter, and they are connected in series. In series, the current will remain same. When the current will remain same, charge will remain same, because the current is not splitting in the series circuit. So current will be same, whether the option B or option D is the valid option. Now from this formula, A that is equal to QV. A that is equal to pi d square by 4 into Q into V, and that is equal to I. Nakvi formula, we will use this. So now the wire which has a less diameter have a greater speed. So it means that the speed of the particle will be greater at Y. So for question number 30, Y has a greater speed. So that is the correct answer according to this expression. So now again the question is related with a very simple formula. R that is equal to rho L over A that is equal to pi d square by 4. We are required to calculate the diameter, make this subject, substitute the values, and then you will get answer. So that is a straightforward question. So 4.0 into 10 to the power minus 4. Option C is the valid option. Now question number 32. Thermistor is connected to a cell with a negligible internal resistance, so there are no energy loss. The terminal potential difference will remain same. Which graph shows the variation of the temperature of the power P dissipated in the thermistor? So when temperature increase, resistance will decrease. They are inversely proportional. When resistance will decrease, current will increase. So power will remain same. The voltage will remain same. So when current will increase, then power will increase. So increasing gradient will be option A. For question number 32, option A is the valid option. Question number 33, the resistance is given, the PD is given, he is saying time is given, how many electrons are passing through the wire. So V equal to IR, we will use the drive the formula. Then I equal to Q by T, then Q that is equal to NE. Total charge will be written as N into E, and then make N as a subject, V into T over R over E, substitute the value, solve this, you will get 6.0 into 10 raised power 17. So for question number 33, option C is the valid option. Question number 34, which circuit symbol does not represent an electric component that is designed to emit sound waves? So these are all the except this. This is the symbol for the heater. So that is a straightforward question, that it is not designed to emit sound for a particular waves. So question number 35, the diagram shows that is the Kirchhoff's rule. So this is the current which is 2 ampere. 3 ampere minus 1 ampere will give us 2 ampere. Now he is saying that what is the charge passing through R in 5 seconds? Q equal to IT, and then I is equal to 2 into 5, that is 10. So for question number 35, option C is the valid option. Now question number 36, internal resistance is now involved in this question. It means that now the terminal potential difference will not, for example, if we have a voltage which is equal to 10 volt and there is an internal resistance, so the terminal potential difference may be 9.8 volt, because some of the voltage will lost in the internal resistance. So when the switch will be closed, it means that terminal PD will decrease across these two terminal P and Q. So for question number 36, the terminal PD will decrease because there is some energy lost across small r, which is internal resistance. 37. Baryon is the type of the hadrons. Baryon consists of 3 quarks. So it consists of 3 quarks that must be all the same flavor. 3 quarks rather this option, and 3 quarks, 2 quarks option is the meson, so that is not a valid option. So do not need that the flavors must be same. So for question number 37, option B is the valid option. Again, then momentum is involved in this question. A stationary nucleus acts as nuclear number A. So that is the nuclear number, and that is the proton number. Nuclear number is the mass number as well. So it will emit one proton which has velocity v, and another nucleus W, let's suppose. So it will move in the opposite direction as given in the statement with velocity u. So now the momentum will be conserved. Now the mass of the proton is 1 and mass of the W is A minus 1. The velocity is v, the velocity is u. So now we will apply the formula. The total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. For proton, mass is 1 into v, and for the other nucleus which I have written as a W, the mass is A minus 1. So the final expression v that is equal to A minus 1 u, which is the option B. Now question number 39. For question number 39, whenever there is a beta decay, the proton will convert into neutron with beta positive and emission of a neutrino. And the composition of the proton is UUD, and the composition of the neutron is UDD. So 1 U will convert into 1 D for this process. For question number 39, option D is the valid option. And now the last question, you have to remember the value for the charm, which is 2.3 E. Okay, stay tuned. Take care. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.